calendar, an administrative calendar, and then the board will remain trying to listen to any thoughts and comments and concerns of town residents. At this point, I would like to ask Councilman Ed Ambrosino to lead us in the pledge of allegiance. Please rise.
Raise your right hand over your heart and repeat after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Supervisor Santino.
Here.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Here.
Councilman Blakeman.
Here.
Councilman Diaz-Pasito.
Here.
Councilman Hughes.
Here.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Here.
First matter, please.
Petition of Commissioner of Buildings to demolish and remove detached garage and porch and remove all litter and debris from property in Baldwin.
Okay, is there anyone who would like to be heard on this matter before the town board? Okay, there being none, I will ask for a motion, please.
Supervisor, I move to close the public hearing and adopt the item.
I second.
Supervisor Santino.
Aye.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Pasito.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Next item, please.
Proposed local law regarding regulations and restrictions to limit parking in Belmore, Oceanside, Point Lookout, and West Hempstead.
Is there anyone who would like to be heard on this matter, please? There being none, I'll ask for a motion.
Supervisor, I move that the public hearing be closed and the local law be adopted.
Second.
Supervisor Santino.
Aye.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Pasito.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Aye.
Next matter, please.
Proposed local law regarding parking or standing prohibitions in Belmore and West Hempstead.
Is there anyone who would like to be heard on this matter?
Mr. Supervisor, I move that the public hearing be closed and the local law adopted.
Second.
Supervisor Santino.
Aye.
Councilman Ambrosino. Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Pasito.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilwoman King Sweeney.
Aye.
Next matter, please.
Proposed local law regarding arterial stops in Belmore.
Is there anyone who would like to be heard on this matter, please? There being none, I'll ask for a motion.
Move to close the public hearing and adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Santino.
Aye.
Councilman Ambrosino. Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Pasito.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Aye.
Next item, please.
Proposed local law regarding marinas and docks in town of Hempstead.
Is there anyone who would like to be heard on this matter, please? There being none, I'll ask for a motion.
Supervisor, I move that the public hearing be closed and the local law be adopted.
Second.
Supervisor Santino.
Aye.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Pasito.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilwoman King Sweeney.
Aye.
Next matter, please.
Proposed increase and improvement of the town of Hempstead refuse disposal district.
Is there anyone who would like to be heard on this matter, please? There being none, I'll ask for a motion.
I move the public hearing be closed and proposed increase in improvements be approved.
Second.
Supervisor Santino.
Aye.
Councilman Ambrosino. Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Pasito.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes. Councilwoman King Sweeney.
Aye.
Next matter, please.
Proposed increase and improvement of the Bowling Green Water District.
Is there anyone who would like to be heard on this matter? There being none, I'll accept the motion.
Move the public hearing be closed, proposed increase be approved. Second.
Supervisor Santino.
Aye.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Pasito.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Aye.
Next matter, please.
Proposed increase and improvement of East Meadow Water District.
Is there anyone who would like to be heard on this matter? There being none, I'll accept the motion.
I move the public hearing be closed and proposed increase in improvements be approved.
Second.
Supervisor Santino.
Aye.
Councilman Ambrosino. Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Bazito.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Aye.
Next matter, please.
Proposed increase and improvement of the Levittown Water District.
Is there anyone who would like to be heard on this matter? There being none, I'll accept the motion, please.
I move the public hearing be closed, proposed increase in improvement.
Is there a second?
Second.
Supervisor Santino.
All right.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Bazito.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Aye.
Next matter, please.
Proposed increase and improvement of Lido Point Lookout Water District.
Is there anyone who would like to be heard on this matter? There being none, I'll accept the motion, please.
I move that public hearing be closed and the item adopted.
I second.
Supervisor Santino.
Aye.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Bazito.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Aye.
Next matter, please.
Proposed increase and improvement of the Roosevelt Field Water District.
Is there anyone who would like to be heard on this matter? There being none, I will accept the motion, please.
Move the public hearing be closed, proposed increase be adopted.
Second.
Supervisor Santino.
Aye.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Bazito.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilwoman King Sweeney.
Aye.
Next matter, please.
Proposed increase and improvement of the Uniondale Water District.
Okay, Martha Ann Brady. Good morning. Your name and address for the record, please.
Martha Ann Brady, 517 Mize Court, Uniondale. I know Uniondale Water District is the oldest water district in the town of Hempstead, dating back to 1933, according to the pamphlets that we get on the testings that come through. I pulled up the legal notice and find that they're proposing $1.1 million for fixing this or updating, whatever. And I see the other water districts, and I'm assuming it's probably about the same for the other districts. If I had a leaky faucet in my house and didn't repair it until it was running full flow, and the water district saw this, they would, according to my bills, they would come after me. Why is this taking so long to update these things since 1933? Have there been other initiatives in between?
Yeah, there certainly have been, but to be more specific, I'll have Commissioner Reinhardt from our Water Department explain.
Good morning. The work that's proposed under this fund initiative is the acquisition of property and the design, being professional services to design of a new well for the Uniondale Water District, which will provide additional water capacity for the district. The district currently operates at a peak flow deficit. It's augmented by the surrounding districts. This will provide an additional well to meet the demand of that district. Every year we have about $10 million of improvements that are done throughout our water districts.
So this is a new well to meet increasing demand. It's not a repair of the existing mains or wells or anything.
Correct.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Anyone else on this matter? There being none, I will accept a,
I move the public hearing be closed and proposed increase be adopted.
Supervisor Santino.
aye.
Councilman Ambrosino. Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Bazito.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Aye.
On the administrative calendar.
On the administrative calendar this morning, we have items 1 through 49.
I move the administrative calendar items 1 through 48 and further move that the hearing date for item 49 be adjourned to September 6th, 2016.
Second.
Okay. Just for the record, do any members of the board want to sever any items on the administrative calendar? There being none, we will now call on residents who have wanted to speak about specific matters. Mr. Felix Corcati.
Felix Procacci, 1165 Barn Street, Franklin Square, New York. On item number 35.
35.
Why, I mean, it's like this, it's two questions. Why is the town retaining a private investigator, indicating they already have one? And why do we need a private investigator?
Mr. Rob?
We have in-house investigators. We have a need for an investigator who is retained and to do certain other types of investigations.
What type of investigation?
I'll have no further comment on the types of investigations that we do.
Can I foil the types of investigations? The work that this
No.
company does? No?
Well, they haven't done anything yet, so
Well,
they did nothing. The short answer is these are investigations, so by definition, they're highly confidential. So we have a need for an outside investigator in town Hempstead, and that's why we're retaining this firm.
How can the residents be rest assured that this money is not being wasted and the investigation is really in the public interest if you never state what that interest is?
Well, I would imagine from time to time, we will discipline employees or find things that are going on at our facilities where people are breaking in and things like that. I mean, there's 1,000 different things that happen. So I don't know exactly how to answer your question.
This is $64 an hour. And I know we have investigators on salary here, and now we're going to pay this firm $64 an hour. I just feel that the public deserves some explanation for it, because otherwise there's no accountability. And if I know that I'll give you a perfect example. When I foil receipts from outside attorneys, you redact a lot of stuff that doesn't need to be redacted. You say privileged, but it's not privileged. So if there's no accountability, you get away with it, because then I have to go through extraordinary means to get an unredacted, get an unbiased opinion. And you don't want to share with why you're hiring this investigator, and that's very troubling, because you could use it for a lot of not in the public interest matters. Okay. We're borrowing $12.7 million about, in the resolutions, at least we're proposing it. Last year, at the budget hearing, I asked the question, how much money has been borrowed but not spent yet for 2015, and that number was $11 million. And it's on the video, watch it. How much money have you borrowed and have yet to spend?
Mr. Conroy?
Supervisor, members of the board, we borrow on a basis of need, so as to mitigate our debt service, we use interest and principal payments. So to answer your question, we have a schedule up in my office. We'd like to entertain your meeting, and we'll tell you exactly what we borrowed, what's been spent to date, and what's still outstanding.
Okay, all the items? Okay, that's fine. Number 28. Freelance photographer, I've asked this question. I have your mailing regarding the town cutting discretionary spending. Has the budget for freelance photographers been cut?
A full-time photographer has retired or is about to retire. So by replacing that full-time employee with hourly freelance people, it will be a significant cost savings to the town.
So we're not going to replace the full-time. That's fair. I like that. Just my routine, numbers 39 to 46, I don't want to speak on any of them, but I wish the board would change its policy on allowing others, myself if necessary, to speak on calling of a public hearing. That person may only have that day to come to a town board meeting, and they may not be able to come the day that it's being discussed, so they would like to be put on the record of what they have to say. So I don't see any negative effect on the town board or the government. I actually see a benefit, to encourage more public participation. So I just wish the town board would change its policy. It never used to be that way. I get the feeling they changed it, when I started talking about it, that's the feeling I get. But, I think that anyone who wants to speak on calling a public hearing should be able to speak on the details of it, because that's where it's really explained to the public. And I don't understand, can you explain what the purpose of having that restriction? Is there any purpose anyone could give me? You enforce it rigorously, pretty much. Is there any reason for it? Not allowed?
Mr. Ricacci, I've explained to you in the past that when we are calling a public hearing, we are simply calling the public hearing. Anything that is said at that aspect of the administrative calendar does not go on the record for the actual public hearing, because it's not the public hearing. Therefore, we limit the comment of anyone with respect to calling the date of the hearing simply to what is actually before the town board, which is calling the date of the hearing. At the actual hearing, then obviously people can share their thoughts and concerns, because then it becomes part of the public record. That is the answer. You may not agree with it, you may not like it, but that is the answer. It was the answer 2 weeks ago, it was the answer 2 weeks before that. Okay? So,
I absolutely understand your answer. It's just sort of like, usually you implement a policy for some sort of reason. If people want to get their voice heard, I do video record the meetings, you video record the meetings. If people want to be heard, and that's the one day they can make a meeting.
it's not part of the public hearing, any comment that, we're not going to argue the point. It's not part, anything they say for the administrative calendar is not part of the public hearing for the matter that is actually being called. It only is part of the public hearing at the public hearing. You may not agree with it, but that's the answer.
I agree with that portion. I just don't understand the reason for the restriction on the voice.
I thought it was fine, but that's fine, we'll agree with this.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And no one else on the administrative calendar? On the administrative calendar, then? Okay, Ms. Mann, come on. This is your name and address for the record.
Madden, 243 Cherry Place, East Meadow. Number 11, can you please tell me what that, is that money for what we have discussed or something?
Commissioner Marino?
capital expenditure at the end of the two specific items. One is to upgrade the bedroom, and the other to upgrade the drainage pump that leads to the UIC conditioning garage area. Both of those were $75,000, total $150,000.
Okay, so this is not in connection with the category or anything?
No. The structural issue.
And item number 35, the investigator, I would like to comment that I'm thrilled that you are bringing in a private investigator. I think that never happened before in the previous administration, and I'm not going to be premature to say that I'm not that confident in the current investigation taking place. So I'm hoping that this will bolster that investigation and get down to the truth. So I am glad to see this happening, and I think it's admirable. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else on the administrative calendar on the matter before the, Ms. Craig? Mary Ellen? Craig? Yes. What item? Your name and address.
436 Locust Avenue, Unionville. So on the item number 3, about the open and abandoned buildings, I know that Mr. Ra is investigating the possibilities of, which I had brought up, about the Uniondale Community Land Trust. And I'd like to direct his attention to the work that was done in Boston with the Dudley Street Initiative, where they work very closely with the city government in order to take care of abandoned homes. So that is something that he could check into. On number 21, underground injection control pod. What is underground injection?
21?
Yes, please.
Mr. Cameron, you have that one? And it's also Board of Fund, Commissioner Arnott, either one?
Well, this is driven by an order of the EPA. Underground injection control basically stands for standing water with insects can breathe and mosquitoes and the like. So what we're doing is we're spending money here to monitor and maintain that at the directive of the EPA to ensure that that situation is mitigated. Again, it's a standing water.
It just sounds weird to call it underground injection. Okay, and the last one I'm interested is 32, question about regulation of permissible hours for conduct of structural work on buildings. So this is a temporary suspension of enforcement. What were the hours and why are they being adjusted?
Well, I believe, and Commissioner Rock can correct me if I'm wrong, this is still Hurricane Sandy related, where we are allowing work on Sundays, and at other hours we would not necessarily allow work in order to, again, facilitate the repair of buildings that were damaged.
That's correct, Supervisor, Saturdays and Sundays.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Anyone else on the administrative? Yes, Mac? And your name and address again for the record, please.
Martha Ann Brady, 517 Myers Court, Uniondale. In regards to one of these properties on number 3 in Uniondale, number 350 Newport Road. That's one of the older ones that had been boarded up for a number of years. And about 2 months ago, I noticed it was being fixed up. It was, there's a car in the driveway, there's people outside. Is this legal residents or is this squatters that are in there?
Commissioner Rockham, would?
Supervisor, yes, we boarded this house up. However, I don't know on that, I'll have to look into that. I'll send someone out just to check.
Okay, thank you. Number 5, road work in unincorporated areas. Is Uniondale included in this, some of this road work?
Yes, it's townwide. There certainly will be some Uniondale in there. I don't know if Commissioner Rockets is here.
I know they've done Hempstead Boulevard from Uniondale Avenue all the way to the high school. And one area that is a substitute for Uniondale Avenue is California Avenue, from Cedar Street to Front Street. It is a roller coaster. And a friend of mine who lives on there has stated, I've asked her, when was the last time this road was repaired? Not just patched up, it's got patches on patches. And it's more than 50 years since this has been done.
Let me, can we just address the overall question as to what?
This is an award of a bid for a contract. This is for our requirements contract. This is to do various repairs around town, different areas, catch basins, that type of stuff. We can take a look at California Avenue though.
Please.
And why don't we, Commissioner?
In a car, not in a big truck, but you don't feel it. You know, I mean,
No, okay. I know.
And Commissioner Toscano, I would appreciate it if you would look at that California place personally and see what the highway department can do.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
thank you. One more, if you don't mind. Number 42, prohibition of left turns in Uniondale. Can you be more specific on that?
Yeah, yes, on our traffic control department.
I would have to do some research on
name and phone number and contact her as soon as I find out some information on this. We can just schedule for the next council meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else on the administrative calendar? Okay, there being none, then I will, it's been moved and seconded, so Madam Clerk, if you can call the roll.
Supervisor Santino.
Aye.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Pasito.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes. Councilman King Sweeney.
Okay, I'll take the motion, please, Councilman Leaders.
I would like to move that the hearing be closed.
The meeting be adjourned. Okay, second, please.
Supervisor Santino.
Aye.
Councilman Ambrosino. Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Pasito.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Okay, now, as indicated, the town board will remain behind to listen to the miscellaneous thoughts and concerns of town residents, and we will start with, again, Mary Ellen Craig. Mary Ellen? Craig?
I like to think of this as a forward-looking town, and I think some of the legislation which was passed last time indicated that, and several of the other resolutions passed in recent weeks. So every time I go past Town Hall, the old Town Hall, the clock is at the same time. I have a suggestion. I know it is expensive to repair. Therefore, why do you not cover the faces with the town seal?
Thank you. Okay. Ms. Madden? Name and for the audio record, please.
243 Diane Madden, 243 Cherry Place, East Meadow. I just wanted to bring to your attention, you may recall that Mr. Bernacci, Dave Bernacci, had come to a town board meeting. He runs the shelter called Pets for Love. He has an incredible shelter. It's clean, the animals, all of their needs met, whatever those needs may be, including medical. He submitted paperwork to help with the overabundance of animals at the shelter, and this has been weeks. It should take about maybe 2 hours to approve or not approve a rescue organization, and he is still waiting to be.
Mr. Denning, if you can advise the board where we are on this.
Yeah, I had visited Mr. Bernacci's location this past Friday. He has not signed the necessary paperwork at this point. I talked to him on Friday. We're going to try to work something out. We discussed that with the shelter director, so I am.
That means what? We have an agreement in principle, but you're just waiting for it to be signed?
He has not signed it as of yet. It's regarding notification of other rescue departments that he might be working with. That's one provision that he is sort of objecting to at this point. So.
All right, let's try to get this resolved this week.
Yeah, no, I've been in contact with him and tried to.
All right, and Mr. Denning, report to me directly this week. I would like to have it done by Friday.
Yes,
Yeah, I just wanted to add too, from what I understand, and Kevin, you are at a disadvantage, but he was told, Mr. Bernacci was told that I helped to write that rescue partnership, which I had nothing to do with. I thought it was garbage when it was written back a few years ago, and I'm surprised any organization would sign it. So I think if you will, take a step further and take a look at that rescue agreement, because we are looking to attract.
Kevin, if he has objections to it, let's talk about it, let's resolve the issue so we can get this thing moving forward.
Okay. And real quickly, the behaviorist ad, I see that went out.
Yeah.
It was incorrect. It's supposed to be a full-time behaviorist, full-time contract, and it had no requirements whatsoever for a certified behaviorist.
I think we're going to reissue it. I think that was what we decided this morning. We're going to reissue it.
Reissue it, and you'll be able to require that level of certification.
Just give your input to Mr. Denning, and it'll be incorporated in what we put out.
Any idea how soon that can be released? Because
I don't know.
It goes through this Friday, and after Friday it goes closed. And then after
Well, the answer is how long? How long, realistically?
In terms of,
Getting it out?
we could do it within a week or two, in terms of, you know, again, we have to advertise it again.
Okay, but again, before it goes out,
Some-
let's incorporate Ms. Randall's suggestions.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Lucille Defina?
Good afternoon, Lucille Defina, 2749 Merrick Avenue, New York. I just have to talk about what Diane just said about the policies and procedures. This was a policy that we really were upset about when it came out. We never were in agreement with it, and even made it publicly known that we were against this rescue policy and this partnership that people were being asked to sign. Diane, she made light of it, but I think it's very upsetting that Dave was told by Kevin that Diane was very much a part of writing this policy. I don't understand why he would say that. And I have to ask him, where would he get that from?
Well, most important thing is that we move forward rather than we will, under my personal supervision, we will make sure that a policy goes out that meets everyone's approval before we do it. But we're going to move quickly, obviously, because we want to get this in place. So we'll move forward together.
I know you've said that before, and Diane has been working.
Well, this is the first time I'm dealing with this particular issue, so we will move forward.
But there's been other issues, and she's been giving her suggestions all along, and they've been ignored to this point, just about everything. I'm really hoping that you meet with her shortly, because there are many issues. At this point in the last 2 weeks, I received 2 more very disturbing emails of things that are going on at the shelter, and I just can't believe, and I really do feel that you are not truly aware of some of the things that are going on.
As I would be able to tell you, we had 2 meeting schedules that for one reason or another had to be postponed, but we are going to try to meet this week or early next.
I hope so. I hope so, because some of the things that people are being told, I mean, this being one example, you know, that Diane's a part of this and Diane's a part of that. People are being told a lot of things that are not true, and I really have to question where this is coming from, why it's almost like she's being completely undermined at this point. So I didn't print out the letters and the emails of other things that were told, because at this point, I don't even want them out there. I think it would be better just to keep them for us and see what happens in the next couple of weeks. Also, I just want to make mention about the Newsday article with the dog, the people who received an $8,000 check for a dog. I think that's great, but it was very reminiscent, I have to tell you, very reminiscent of the Cape Murray days, you know, when she went out there and, you know, made it look like the animal shelter was doing great things. By giving one dog and one family, which is incredible to think that a family got $8,000 for one dog, is pretty incredible, because your euthanasia records on cats, you have to take a look at that, because hundreds and hundreds of cats are getting killed because they need medical. And to give one family $8,000 for one dog, something's very wrong here. And I really hope we're not going to go back to the days of exploiting these animals, you know, just to make it look like the animal shelter is doing good things. The animal shelter will do good things when you have a really good foster program. And thank you for advertising for foster care homes, but as long as you have a veterinarian in charge of foster care homes, and he's depriving animals, mostly all cats, of medical, then I don't see how foster care is going to work when you have a vet who's doing that. You also had a cat that died a horrific death on top of a door cage. You know, he had foster care. He could have went. It was that vet who deprived that cat from leaving the shelter and let that cat suffer and die a very miserable death. And we're talking about something that maybe would have cost $50. And then one dog, one family gets $8,000. There's something very wrong here. And I hope there's a private investigator. Diane seems to think that there is, and maybe they're looking into the animal shelter. If that's the case, you need to go back to what's been done in the past year and a half. Because I'm sure right now everything is being covered as much as possible. So I hope if there is an investigation, and it is a private investigation, I hope they go back, because there are many things that are being done here that seem very fraudulent.
Felix Bacacci?
I'd like to talk about your mailer, government works, the fiscal update. I think this is my 12th or 13th for this year. We're on track for tying or breaking last year's 27 record, which is unfortunate. 20% cuts of discretionary spending. I don't know what discretionary spending is, so I want to ask the questions. Is the passport operation in the town of Hempstead discretionary spending? Is it considered that?
Controller's office reviewed the 2016 budget and carved out what was considered discretionary versus non-discretionary. Non-discretionary spending would be that contractual. For example, the Covanta plant, we spend about $30 million a year there to process the garbage. There's a contractual increase there. There's also tonnage that we have to maintain and make sure we deliver there, so that would be non-discretionary. Discretionary spending would be other than non-contractual and non-regulatory compliance matters. Catch anything other than those two matters.
Okay, so then the passport operation
is
discretionary. Well, I recommend, and I recommended many times, based on numbers, not my opinion. I think you have to be very clear, very understand this, that I don't come here and state my opinion until I've exhausted a lot of facts and I do a lot of work here. And you don't even budget, according to the FOIL responses I've gotten from the town clerk's office, you don't even have an idea of what it costs to run the passport day. I estimate, I do very conservative numbers, with $60 a person. When you could go and get a picture taken at a high cost at the post office when they make the appointment, where you could get it for $15 a person, that's not a fiscally responsible program and should be cut. Your mailings, once again, that's a discretionary program based on, that should be cut. One of the things on your mail is town's legal notices are now online. I think that's a great idea. Why not put all this stuff on LIBN, since that's our current newspaper? It would cost a lot less to buy and add an LIBN for this, very expensive mailing, than it would be. So are we cutting 20% on mailings?
We're cutting 20% on all discretionary spending.
Okay, because right now I don't see the 20% cut based on 13 mailings or 12 mailings in the first 6 months of this year. We're on track for breaking or tying last year's 27 mailing record, which is very bad. We should be using the money. Each one of these could fix a lot of potholes. I know the people a month ago came and spoke about the road repairs. Each block, according to numbers given by Kate Murray at multiple meetings, $1 million to pave a mile of roadway. Each of these costs roughly $50,000, $60,000, depends on how much the overhead is. Almost impossible for me to determine. You could pay someone block for the cost of this, at least do a repaving of their street. So if you get 27, that's 27 blocks you could pave with, instead of 27 mailings. Maybe you should ask the constituents, what would they rather have, 27 mailings or 27 blocks of road paved? You know, that's really the question we should ask the constituents, what do they prefer? Because, you know, that question is never being asked, and people don't know where the money is. It's always the excuse that we have to borrow more money to pave roads. Why not? I understand. Why not use existing funds and just redirect it? So you're not really cutting taxes, you're just redirecting from something that people really don't want. If there's 100 people coming here saying, I want mailings, maybe then we'll implement mailings, but I don't see that happening. I think most people would rather have that block paved than the mailing. I mean, that's just my opinion, but talking to people based on my, you know, evidence that I've gathered, that's what people want. Things like the entertainment, this would be fall under discretionary spending. Are we cutting this? Graphic artists, we have $500,000 in salaries in graphic artists. Are we cutting 20% of graphic artists? You know, let them retire and we don't need to rehire them again. I mean, that's, you know, discretionary spending. Those are big numbers. These are big numbers that can make a difference in the lives of the town, the residents, where they can get their street paved, things they really care about. And I wish we'd really cut the discretionary spending. We should cut some of the, what's called non-discretionary, but it's things that people really don't want. You let people want. I have over here, I have a letter from Thomas Toscano from 5-6 years ago, where he tells me we patrol the streets for debris. Do people really want that? 90% of residents have landscapers. The streets get cleaned. We don't really need street cleaning. A lot of areas are so congested, the street cleaner just rides down the middle of the block. They really don't do anything useful. That program should be cut, and we should direct the funds to something people want, like fixing their streets. Anything to say about that? No?
Happy to listen to you.
Yeah, one more thing. My kids swim, this I guess is a discretionary spending. Both my kids are on the Rath Park swim team. We cut 20% of that. It was used to be 5 days a week practice. It went from no more Mondays, so it's 4 days. So we cut 20%. The price went up 10%. And there's no more buses to the meets on Saturday, so that means I have to get up 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning and drive them wherever their meet is. That's discretionary spending that was cut for the kids. And that was something that people really would want. If you cut the mailings, you could use the money so kids don't have to find a route now and get their parents to drive them to the swim meets, which are all over the town of Hempstead. That's an idea of cutting something that people don't want and giving a program that people do want, because I like to rather sleep in on Saturday and my kids get the bus to take their, to go to the swim meets. That's like essentially a 30% increase in that, and we cut the program.
Is there anyone else who would like to be heard? Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.